All right, everybody. It has been a long weekend of lots of Legends of Runeterra tournaments, namely the first group of tournaments right after patch 1.6 drop. This was a super interesting weekend. We saw lots of cool decks, and more specifically, the fifth Project Conquerors Cup qualifier. God, all right, I love to see some of these decks here. We saw some, oldie but goodies, a lot of mid-range Frostbite, but we did see a lot of new decks played as well. Now, I will say this is going to be a little different than usual. You guys are going to get the finals right away. So I want to know in the comments below what you guys think, if you guys do just want the finals put up from now on from all these different tournaments. A lot of times we're doing Duels of Runeterra, PCS, BR stuff, Brazilian tournaments as well. So if you guys want, the semis as well, let me know. If you guys still want, the quarters and the semis and the top 16, who knows? Let me know in the comments below. I want to know what you guys think. But for now, we are getting the finals action. And this time around, it's going to be Kreah versus Wargros in the finals. And I'm just going to pull up these brackets for you guys quick. We did actually have M8 Asher going up against Kreah in the quarterfinals. So I just want to go ahead and go over everybody who was in the top 8 for you guys real quick. We had Triskin versus TT79. We had Firiel, however you want to pronounce that, versus Zeramis. Man, some of these names, I'll tell you, they're difficult. And then we had Night Crash versus Wargros. We have seen Firiel in the quarterfinals before for a qualifier cup, so good to see him return. And like I said, guys, this was a hell of an interesting tournament. So strap yourselves in. We are going to get into the finals gameplay of Kreah versus Wargros for the 5th qualifier for the Conquerors Cup. And as always, guys, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. Got all sorts of tournament content as well as deck videos coming out on a weekly and usually daily basis. So hit that sub button, smash the like button if you like the video, and let's get into this finals action.
I mean, I don't want to call it the Teemo deck. I want to call it the elusive deck because don't put Teemo in the spotlight here. He doesn't deserve that.
But there's a Teemo in the deck, man.
I don't give a shit. There's a Windfarer Hatchling in the deck. That's the MVP. That's the one that's going to be picking up the W's. What's Teemo going to be? Teemo's going to be sitting in the back with his mushrooms. Windfarer Hatchling's up here doing all the work.
One of the reasons I really like that deck too, by the way, is even the Windfarer Hatchling, that's the highest curve card in the deck. And even that technically gets buffed by Suit Up. So there's actually no bad targets for Suit Up, which is hard, right? Because Suit Up inherently gives you a deck building constraint, and that's the drawback. So seeing a deck so easily able to meet that deck constraint is pretty cool. And with that said, we're getting into the first game of finals. Let's go. Down to see some Teemo in this matchup here. We're going to see Wargros versus Kreah, both from France as well. Both from France.
Yeah. I'm actually kind of curious to see. So I know that we've seen Kinku, Wayfinder, Teemo in the past because that was like an interaction that the Runeterra player base knew about where it's like, oh, I can potentially hit like 2 Teemos off of this, and that's like about as good as my Teemo stuff gets. And I do like that we've kind of found this adaptation where it's like, oh, we actually might have a real deck with it at this point, especially because like if I hit you with 2 Teemos, then it's like, okay, there's 10 shrooms in the deck. Next time around, I'm hitting you with that second Teemo is going to evolve once the first one hits you and puts 15 in the deck. So all of a sudden, I play a Kinku Wayfinder on 4. On turn 6, you got 30 mushrooms in your deck, buckaroo.
Yeah.
I don't care what kind of control deck you are. I can sit here and stall out for as long as I want, especially with this triple concussive palm in the deck, as well as a recall to be able to recycle the concussive palm. And concussive palm is sort of a new card that we've seen out of the elusives, but let's move that one to the side as we are not playing that just yet. We have War Mother's Call
We're just
versus
too excited
Scouts.
over this Teemo elusive deck. Like, it's just such a... Oh, I can't wait. All right, so Bannerman. Exciting, right? Super exciting. Or actually, is Bannerman being played, or is this straight up Scouts with no Bannerman?
I believe this one's Bannerman. Yeah, this is Bannerman. It's just MF and Petty Officer.
Pretty much they all just have Bannerman 100% of the time now, so...
This one is playing Sithria the Bold, though.
Okay. And I do like Sithria the Bold. I do like having both because they both serve different purposes and different matchups. A lot of the time with Sithria the Bold, you do need that consistent attack buff versus something like maybe a control deck where they need multiple turns to get rid of some of your units. So we'll see if this Well, actually, he has Genevieve in his hand right now, so hopefully he draws a Cythria, and that'll be the difference. But this Genevieve, I feel, is not as impactful in this particular matchup as a Cythria is.
I mean, Genevieve can straight up kill Anivia, which isn't nothing.
No, Genevieve's still a good card, right? I mean, it's still good, and it's always... I think Genevieve is a better one-turn swing because of Scout. Because she can basically kill 2 units in 1 turn. That's super, super good. But to actually, like, win the game, I'd rather have a Cythria overall, just because you're getting every single turn, like, consistent damage through, unless your opponent has an answer immediately for that Cythria.
Yeah, I think personally I like the Genevieve a little bit more. Getting that on play +1/+1 makes you more resilient to things like the avalanche that you can see coming out of your opponent, as well as just being able to actually... You know, there's nothing that the Fearsome matters against in this deck except for an unevolved Anivia. But there aren't any Rekindlers or Mist Calls, so you're not super worried about like killing the Anivias and your opponent bringing them back a billion times over something like that.
Yeah, and there's, I mean, that is a good point. Most of the followers in Wargros' deck can all block Fearsome units, so it's not really that big of a deal. I think actually all of them can, right? Anivia's 3.
There's, oh yeah, because it's Ledros, Soulgorger, Anivia, and Tryndamere.
Yeah, so they actually all can. Yeah, so the Fearsome is definitely a lot less impactful. So yeah, we'll see if this Genevieve is the one that's going to do work then in this game. We do see pretty okay start here, taking this open attack. Would you have taken this open attack or developed a little bit more?
I'm a little surprised that Kreah didn't develop on 3. You had a couple of good options between the Fleet Feather War Chef or just the Petty Officer. I think that I even would have liked playing the Grizzled Ranger. I think that Kreah is just not playing greedy enough. This is sort of a matchup where you're going to be unfavored. And going into turn 5, only having pushed 6 damage on your opponent, actually only 5 damage on your opponent, is just really not enough. You need to keep the pressure up going into the Ruination turns, and it looks like Kreah is going to try to just play around the Ruination. And here's a spoiler alert for everybody at home. I'm a time traveler from the future here to tell you that that doesn't work.
God, such a smart guy sometimes, Boulevard. Oh, God. So we'll see. I mean, listen, I agree with you, man. I think that it's very scary that Kreah, or not even scary, just really questionable why Kreah had all these lower drops in his hand and just is refusing to play them. This is just... I don't think this is going to work out as an overall strategy for Kreah. I think Wargros is going to get the advantage here because of those plays.
Why is Kreah not developing on the off turns?
I'm trying to think.
Why did we see a pass on 3 and 5?
Is he trying to... And he blew mana, I think, too, right? Didn't he burn some mana?
I don't think so.
On turn 5, I think he did.
Yeah, I think he blew 5 mana on turn 5. Because you floated turn 3 to get all your spell mana.
Like... And he wasn't... Obviously, those turns, specifically, you're not playing around Ruination. Like, now, you're playing around Ruination. So now it's very possible that a Ruination comes out. However, he actually would have a pretty decent open attack if that's the case. All right. If he baits a Ruination out here... Because, all right, what he could be doing... This is a mind game. Okay, this is what I'm thinking he might be trying to do with his opponent. He's trying to get his opponent to think he doesn't really have anything that he can play in hand to bait out that Ruination. Now he's actually going to get 7 more damage through, and he has a Relentless Pursuit in hand.
I feel like you would have gotten that. Yeah, I mean, if my math is right, I think Wargros is going to 2.
Yeah. Like, that's a lot of damage really quick by only 2 units when you think about it.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure you could have just had your opponent down to 2 before the Ruination came out and then potentially killed them after it came out if you had continued to develop.
Listen, I'm not going to argue that. Like, I'm not... That's very possible.
I can almost understand floating turn 5, but floating turn 3 still seems weird to me. As well as not playing the Grizzled Ranger pre-combat on 4.
This might be next level, though, right? Because now think about it. Because he got the Ruination out on that specific turn, there is no Ruination that can come out this turn. So he can now develop and then open attack with all those small units. And there's a very low probability that Wargros, especially after playing that Soul Gorger, is going to be able to go wide or kill his board with already playing Ruination. So that's like really, really... You're looking at turn 8 on the first turn of the game if that's how you're playing. And that's very, very... what's the word I'm looking for?
Heads up?
No, not heads up. Like premonition. It's like a word for premonition. Like, he's just, I don't know, he's just really, really looking to play out all 8 turns before they even happened in his head. It's like he just like wrote that down somewhere on a piece of paper and just knew he was going to follow that plan at the beginning of the game. That's what that play leads me to believe, because why the hell else don't you develop?
Yeah, I mean, so like Kreah just wins this game, right? I'm pretty sure the Fleet Feather. Actually, no, because he played Cythria first. This Fleet Feather Tracker is not going to have Challenger. I don't think it matters given Wargros' hand, but I'm pretty sure that, I mean, obviously, like, it looks so good for Kreah. Yeah, looking at this hand from Wargros, I'm pretty sure Kreah wins this game, but I'm pretty sure Kreah could have won on turn 6 if he had continued to develop a little bit earlier on.
I mean, he could have, just based on how many units he had. Like, I definitely agree with you. I think maybe this line of play that he took was more guaranteed, if that makes sense. Oh, does he? No.
The box doesn't hit anything.
No. I was like, wait, does it kill the bird, or what's going on here? So, yeah, I think that if that was his game plan from the start, he's basically relinquishing, okay, this game plan has more of a probability to always win instead of relying on me curving out really well in the first few turns and just playing my hand to the board, which is basically what you're saying most of the time a Bannerman deck's going to do, which I agree.
Yeah.
But listen, if he had that strategy from the start, that's incredibly intelligent and just like wicked 5-headed for him to know in that matchup to do exactly that.
I don't even necessarily know that it can be that, though, because he floated turn 3 with no spells and didn't pick up Relentless Pursuit until turn 5.
How many Relentless? How many Relentless is he playing?
2.
He didn't pick it up until turn 5.
Yeah, so like he floated turn 3 with no spells, got all his spell mana, then picked up Relentless like 2 turns later and was like, I'm a genius who got all my spell mana, just exactly how I wanted it to.
Maybe he would have only done that if he drew the Relentless by turn 5. I mean, there's a lot of variables there, obviously, but
yeah, I'm just saying like this. I don't think he won that game if he didn't top deck the Relentless on 5.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the Relentless is 100% why he won. Yeah.
I feel like he got kind of bailed out there.
By Wargros playing the Ruination when he did, or
no, by the Relentless Pursuit off the top on 5.
Yeah. Listen, it's definitely really questionable. I would actually love to speak with Kreah to see if that was if the way that I had just thought and mentioned that he might be thinking, just to see if that was what he was, because that is really odd. When you're a Bannerman deck or any mid-range deck for that matter, and you have great units to develop on curve, and you don't do it, that's just like, what are you doing, man?
Speaking of units to develop on curve, both players going to miss turn 1.
No Teemo, unfortunately.
No Teemo, no Fleet Feather Tracker, no Cythria of Cloudfield, no Navori Blade Scout.
Yeah, this seems like a pretty trash hand from Kreah, I'm not going to lie. So I am glad that we get to see 2 games, hopefully, out of this Teemo deck here. Elusive, not
yeah.
Teemo. And we do see a Relentless on the side of Wargros with, not exactly... I mean, all right, so actually, no, the hand is pretty good. He just doesn't have a 1-drop, which just feels bad.
How are both players roping turn 1? We've seen such fast gameplay out of the PCS across the course of everything, and now all of a sudden, game 2 of the finals, and nobody has a 1-drop. Did Kreah AFK?
Yeah, it's the ultimate bluff of who has a 1-drop and who doesn't.
Every now and then, I'll like be playing on ladder, and like I'll hear the roping animation, and my opponent must be like, "Oh, he's deep in thought, pensive about the plays he could make." And really, I just forgot I was playing a game of Runeterra. I alt-tabbed out. And I was like, "Oh crap! I have to make a play."
Dude, I do that all the time. I'm like, "Oh shit! Sorry, I was like watching a Twitch VOD or something, and then like I was playing a game." Yeah, I feel your pain.
Or like I'll enter the queue, then go to the bathroom, come back. It's like the end of turn 1, and I'm like, "Oh no!"
Yep. So I imagine Wargros will not take the same route that Kreah took last game and play his units to the board, and then we're gonna so we do see the War Chefs come down.
No Ruination coming out of Kreah this time around, although typically Elusives has been favored in the Bannerman matchup. Things just tend to work out a little bit better for the Elusive player in terms of tempo and how you want to play out the matchup. Wargros wants to develop units. Generally, Wargros is playing a much more aggressive version of the deck, so it does have a better chance against Elusives than, say, the Bannerman of old, where you were trying to play challengers and control the board, where it's like, oh, I'll play a challenger, and then you can't develop this turn, so I get the advantage, even though I didn't attack, and then the Elusive player's like, that's fine, I'll just develop on my turn, and eventually I'll get 20 damage to kill you before you can actually kill me. But with Wargros having options like the Senna, like the Misfortune, I was trying to name champions, and then I saw Draven's biggest fan and got really thrown for a loop here. But Kreah can just die to Wargros' over-aggression.
I played a deck on ladder that actually had Draven's biggest fan in it. That was questionable to say the least. I think that no matter what card you buff, that card is not really ever going to be that great. But hey, discard aggro is better now. Maybe Draven being at the top of your deck is the difference maker here. So,
I mean, we have seen Draven do a lot of work over the last couple of patches. Yeah. And speaking of a lot of work, Kreah is not going to block, just going to take that whole 8 damage. And this is what I was talking about. These are the more aggressive versions, that Petty Officer, representing 6 damage alongside that War Chef on turn 3.
Now, we will see Kinku come down here and hopefully pull... or do you just play the Zed? Or actually, yeah, especially with the Blade Scout. He could go with the Zed and the Blade Scout here. Zed trades pretty okay into this board, and we know that with Wargros' hand, he doesn't have any combat tricks.
I think that Kinku Wayfinder is better on defense. I think that this is sort of one of your better Zed turns. Mm-hmm. But like, you also have 2 Kinku Wayfinders.
Yeah, it's like you gotta start getting these bad boys down, especially now that you just drew a Blade Scout, right? Yeah.
I mean, you'd rather be blocking with Blade Scouts than Teemos. Yeah. And maybe it is correct just to play out this Kinku Wayfinder so that even if you hit 2 Blade Scout, you know, you hit your opponent for the 7 damage, or you hit your opponent for the 4 elusive damage, and then you have blockers for the Petty Officer and the Draven's biggest fan on the following turn. But Zed does sort of offer up, hey, you have to let me eat a little bit of your board, otherwise this Zed is going to level. And not only does that represent more damage, but it also means that I get to kill your War Chef on the trade. But this Bright Steel Protector is going to completely negate the Zed attack for the turn, as you don't want to lose that card.
Yeah, it feels really bad to see that barrier come out. Actually opting to not play the Blade Scout, probably thinking that a Relentless Pursuit might come out, saving the deny mana. And I think that actually is a good play, considering he has 2 deny in his hand and he needs to use one of them.
I mean, it's definitely a very hard read on the Relentless Pursuit, because I think that playing the Blade Scout, you still get to block the Bright Steel Protector, and like, it's not bad.
Yeah, I see it now. You know, he kind of gets punished for it, obviously, with the Relentless not happening. I'm actually surprised Wargros didn't Relentless there. I mean, it was a decent opportunity to get a lot of damage through, but even this turn, I mean, you drop something like a Bannerman. Okay.
Yeah, I think once you get the Bannerman down, it makes sense that you were kind of saving the Relentless Pursuit for this, though I don't think Kreah is going to fall below the deny mana pretty much ever again.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, there's no way. You can't now. Not with this big of a board. And we'll see what else Wargros decides to attack with. Honestly, you kind of want to... I'm
going to guess everything.
Yeah, probably. You kind of want a suit up at this point just to get as much lifesteal on that Kinku Lifeblade as possible, but I really don't think there's anything... Wait, is that game 4? Oh, no, he's got the stun.
Puts him at 1.
Okay. He's got the stun.
Is Concussive Palm game, though? Because that taps you out of Relentless Pursuit. The 1 unit's not going to be able to attack again, but...
Let me see where the board's
Okay,
at.
no, because neither of the blockers actually survive the trade for Wargos, so I think... No, Relentless does still represent lethal.
No, we're 1 off from lethal.
No, you challenge it.
Oh, wait. Yeah, never mind. Yeah, you have the challenge. Yep. And you have the War Chefs, too, so I think either way it would have been lethal. So, wow. Yeah, that's going to be a quick loss for this Teemo Elusive deck. Unfortunately, it feels super bad. But we will get to see it again. I mean, this deck, honestly, so maybe this is kind of the weakness of this Teemo Elusive deck, right? Because Cephalopod that you mentioned playing it at Fight Night on Friday. My mic is a little bit low now. Jeez. You guys are killing me today. Yeah. Oh, thanks, man. So I think that like Cephalopod didn't do crazy good with it in Fight Night either. He obviously didn't make it to the finals or anything like that. And I think that the problem with this deck is just how inconsistent the draws can be. Obviously, you could probably just draw nuts a lot more frequently than some other decks with this suit up. I mean, having a 4/4 Teemo early on in the game feels okay, kind of good. But otherwise, like we just saw in that hand, drawing 2 deny and stuff, that's rough. It's really rough.
I think it's sort of a question of how many matchups are you running into where Teemo is better than Omen Hawk? Mm-hmm. And the answer is probably not a lot. It makes a little bit more sense in a 3-deck format where you get to commit your Freljord elsewhere. It's kind of wild because the 2-deck meta at this point is drastically different than the 3-deck meta, which is a whole conversation that we can have another day. In the meantime, Kreah opening a little bit better this time. Well, okay, I want to say opening a little bit better, but it really is just I opened a 1-drop. This is actually worse, unless he can find some action for turn 2 or 3. There's a Teemo. Oh, and we have suit up Teemo available.
Yeah, this is a thing this turn. So we'll see. We actually don't have access to Wargros' hand as of now. I imagine that'll pop back up here in a little bit. But we'll see if Wargros has a response to this. He's playing Vile Feast, correct?
Yeah, so this is actually the matchup where I think that the Teemo is better than the Omen Hawk. It's because so many of your units are at a 1 and 2 health break point. I don't think the Omen Hawk really buffs them out of the range of much. They're still going to die to the box. They're still going to die to Avalanche. But if Wargros fires off a Vile Feast here, we could see Kreah defend it with the suit up, then go for a Twin Disciplines defense if we see a Grasp of the Undying on the following turn.
Yeah, and this lines up super well for Kreah. I mean, getting this Teemo attack next turn will be pretty big. Again, like you said, if a Grass does come out, being able to negate one of those will also be big. And we are seeing a box on top of it. Wow. Lots invested.
Oh, that's rough for Kreah.
Yeah, he invested a lot on the side of Wargros killing that Teemo, but I think that's going to pay off beautifully for him because that Teemo was definitely a threat.
Yeah, so Wargros is your PCS champion. Congratulations.
Wow, already, huh? We're on turn 3, man.
Yeah, and he's up a card. He's the control deck, and he's up a card on turn 3. That's GG's, baby.
Yeah, that's definitely rough for Kreah. I mean, I was going to say he could draw another Teemo, but even if he does, he doesn't have the additional suit up, which is just...
Yeah, I think you needed that 4/4 Teemo to sort of take over the game. I mean, it is still elusive, and there are pretty much no elusive answers out of Wargros.
And he has the kicker.
He could still have sort of a brick hand. We haven't seen this War Mother's Call deck perform... I mean, obviously, it's won every game that or every match that we've seen him in because he's made it to the finals, but I think every loss he's taken has been on this. That is... Once again, Wargros, your PCS champion. Congratulations, bud.
Oh, I feel like I just got stabbed in the heart.
The Teemo Terminator.
Yeah.
The elusive evader.
Oh my god. That's some good alliteration there. That's some... it's like preparing your comedy session.
Yeah, I told you I have a Twitter degree and I've been putting it to use lately.
Oh my god. That sucks for Kreah. That's just no other way to put that other than that just sucks. And it's going to be really hard for Kreah to develop any sort of aggression.
Show me another box, Wargros. Do it to him. Box number 3.
Oh, what do we got?
Avalanche.
Yeah, an Avalanche is going to feel really oppressive because it's like, yeah, oh my god. Everything that Kreah is doing just gets wiped. It feels really bad.
I don't think you... No, why are you protecting the Zed?
Yeah, that seems a little risky because he has 5 mana left. There's a lot that he could have to kill the Zed, namely a Grasp of the Undying.
It's more so you have another Zed in hand. I feel like you should just let your unit die, play the other Zed, and then if they have an answer for that, then you can Twin Disciplines the second Zed.
I mean, you could argue that, like, thinking that this Zed's probably going to die no matter what you do, so you might as well try to push through the damage now, and then if they do manage to kill it eventually, you still have another Zed that's now leveled. So, because otherwise there would have been a blocker, right? He would have been able to summon this Navori Blade Scout or probably something else. I mean, but I agree, it's definitely a little bit questionable.
Well, actually, no, he wouldn't, because you would have let the Avalanche resolve, so the Blade Scout would have been off the field. Then you play the Zed. He can't Fading Memories anything because you can't Fading Memories champions.
Oh, yeah, because he played the Twin Disciplines in response to the Avalanche.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, he still could have open attack. So,
but, I mean, it worked out for him.
Yeah, he's pushing some damage through finally. Wargros has already used a lot of removal, so we'll see if he still has more to get rid of this Zed.
Let me list off all the removal that's still in this deck because it's a lot. Where are you, Wargros?
Wait, this isn't a control deck or anything, is it?
Let's see. 31 spells. Yeah, that seems about right. Oh, it's only 30 spells. We still have 3 Ruination. We still have 3 Vengeance. We still have 3 Withering Wail and Grasp.
Yeah, well, and we see that one of the Zeds anyways is already removed. This will be a decent attack turn coming up, though, if Wargros doesn't have anything to summon, and it's a pretty good chance he might not. Unless he's got a Vile Feast.
is Kreah gonna get greedy and go for Windfare Hatchling? I feel like because you have Zed on board, the answer is no.
Yeah, you already push a ton of damage anyway, so
Yeah,
this...
you should be fine.
Wow, so this is really good. I imagine this will probably get Ruination after the fact, though.
I think you might need a whale to survive
4,
currently, as we are representing exactly 13 damage.
Yeah. Vile Feast could also do it. Oh no, well, yeah, actually, now you have the Twin Disciples, so even a Withering Whale would not do it here. So we'll see what comes out of Wargros.
Well, the heal 3 would protect you. Even if the entire board survived for Kreah, the heal 3 would be enough. So even a Catalyst of Aeons actually says, I don't lose. Well, Catalyst loses to Twin Disciplines, but...
Okay. And actually, sorry, yeah, because he's actually killing 2 units. You're right. So now you don't save the Teemo, right?
I don't think you save anything.
I don't think you do either. I think you save it for when Windfarer comes down and you try to like push damage on the following turn.
Yeah. Because if everything goes according to plan, I think like the best bet for Kreah is that Wargros plays War Mother's Call next turn, because that doesn't actually really offer up an impactful blocker.
Yeah, because he's got plenty of elusives in his hand. Not to mention, even if it did, I mean, he has the Concussive Palm as well, which he could actually play with Windfarer on the same turn. This would be really weird if he decides to... I mean, if you save the Teemo, you're saying, okay, I want the chance for my opponent to draw shrooms over the next 3 turns. Okay, so it doesn't look like he's going to go that route. Because you...
I mean, we are actually sort of limited on Teemo removal at this point.
Well, you've used it all. Exactly.
Yeah. Like, you've used 2 boxes, you've used an Avalanche, you've used a Vile Feast, you've used a Whale. I mean, like, you don't really want to Grasp or Vengeance at Teemo. Those are things that you want to be throwing at this Zed. But I do think that Kreah understands that Zed is sort of his win condition for this game. It's not going to be Teemo. You've already had 2 of those die. That is sort of your last Shroom activator, and I don't think your Twin Disciplines is necessarily worth 5 Shrooms in your opponent's deck.
No, and I agree. Because you might, over the course of 3 turns, get 2 damage. Maybe. You could get more, but I highly doubt it. So
Probably
not. You can also just get the Twin Disciples for 3 damage at some point. So yeah, definitely good for him not playing that. And wow. So this might actually be able to swing back in the favor of Kreah here when we go into the next attack turn. A Ruination, though. I don't know if I like playing that Kinku Lifeblade right now.
I mean, you're not worried about Ruination this turn, and if Ruination comes out next turn, I mean, I guess you just throw down the Windfarer Hatchling and then pray for lethal with that Twin Disciplines. I mean, you do now have this Greenglade duo to continue to develop, but yeah, this War Mother's Call is good for Kreah unless it's Soul Gorger specifically. Actually, even a Nivea into another Withering Whale wouldn't be bad. I think you have to Concussive Palm this.
Yeah, I think this...
Which you're not going to feel bad about, necessarily.
No, I think this is all good. I think he Concussive Palms. And, or actually, well, no. Because, see, now, if he doesn't open attack, he still has to worry about Wargros' Ruination.
Yeah, I think you might just play the Hatchling here.
Yeah, just to get the 4 extra damage, yep. And then you have the Twin Disciples, and then you just go for it.
Yeah, and you just swing for the fences.
So that's going to be...
Just make sure to put your elusives first.
Yeah, right. 4, yeah, and then... Yeah, I mean, so even with the Soul Gorger blocking, I didn't do exact math, but I'm pretty sure no matter what, he's going to make it through it. So, yeah. And, okay, now we see the Anivia come out. That is also not going to really do anything. Or, actually, it does. So,
it puts Harsh Winds on the table.
Yeah, it puts Harsh Winds, and it does provide another blocker.
And we saw Kreah just kind of hit spacebar A key, which does mean that this Zed's going first, which is kind of the ideal block for the Soul Gorger. You do have the Twin Disciplines to, sort of invalidate that with the quick attack, but I don't think that's, necessarily the safest way to do this. We could actually, like, if Kreah loses, it's almost certainly because of the way that these attacks lined up. Yeah,
I am kind of... It is kind of weird that he didn't put his elusive units first and Zed probably all the way at the end, to be honest with you.
That's kind of what I was thinking as well, as elusives on the left, Zed on the right.
I mean, I think that no matter what, he has lethal. It's just going to depend on what Wargros does in response. If he has another whale or a grasp, you got to think he probably has a grasp. We haven't seen any. Wait, have we seen a grasp come out? Yes, one.
Yes. No. We've only seen boxes.
Boxes. That's right. So, all right. Let's see what we got.
I mean, his best bet is like double whale.
Okay. Wait.
Vengeance onto Wind.
That's,
I mean, that's just
game.
Lives at 1.
No. The wait. Oh no. Yeah. That's wait. 3-5. No. He wins.
I didn't do the. I mean, before the Twin Discipline came out, I didn't do the math. It was just that he hovered the eye for a second and he saw himself living at 1.
Yeah. No. It's because so actually the way that he. Well, no. Even if he put the 2 elusive units first, he still would have won with this exact. If the Vengeance was played.
Yeah.
So that's still a little weird, but wow. Yeah. So that was not looking like he got
As
wrecked
I said,
in the beginning.
entire game, Kreah had this one in the bag. Not even worried about it. Not even a little bit. War Mother, who? Never heard of her. You know what War Mother's good at? Getting second place.
I'm not, dude. You called that way too early, dude. You called that way too early.
Look, I didn't use the magic word that means I'm actually calling the match, so I have a bailout here.
Wait, what's the magic word?
Limbo.
Oh, okay, limbo. We did never go into limbo technically. Honestly, I'm surprised. I mean, that Teemo got wrecked in the first like 4 turns. Box on a Kinku Wayfinder. The Teemo had the dream of the suit up, and then that got killed too. So like, wow, and the comeback was real with that, and actually wasn't even the Teemo. So I think that just goes to show you how strong elusives really still are without Teemo.
Look, if I'm not calling these games early, then you guys have nothing to look forward to. You want to watch, you get engaged. You're like, man, I really wish Boulevard would shut up. I want to prove him wrong. I'm gonna sit here and watch the game till the end. And guess what? You did it.
All right, guys, that's gonna wrap it up for the finals for the 5th qualifier for the Conquerors Cup. Very excited to do the final qualifying event towards the end of August. I believe it's August 22nd. That's going to be the $500 grand prize tournament. 300 for second place, 200 for second place, 100 for third place. And the awesome sponsors Gunnar and Nice Cactus being able to provide us with these prize pools on a weekly and then on the final basis there at the end of August. So awesome stuff. Glad to see everybody there in the chat as usual. So if you're looking for more action, definitely tune in next week. Saturday at 2 p.m. You're going to see the same tournament, except this is going to be the 6th qualifier. We have 8 total before we get to the final event there for the Conquerors Cup, like I said, on the 22nd of August. So we're still going to have a few more weeks of this action. 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on my Twitch channel. Check it out. Action is always going to be cast live by me and good old Boulevard. So until next time, guys, everybody stay healthy, stay positive. I hope shit just works for you, and peace out.